Hey, welcome to Socialism for All. This file is being recorded for the June 2025 edition of Socialism for All, and it's an audiobook for the continuous improvement of the composition of the party and its growth, for the protection of the purity of its ranks, by Enver Hoxha from 1966. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe, and consider supporting on Patreon, or buy me a coffee at patreon.com/socialismforall, or buymeacoffee.com/socialismforall. There are links to Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee in the video description. So last week we recorded S4A livestream number 128, and in that stream we talked about socialist parties a bit. Hopefully that will be edited and posted by the end of the week. In the meantime, we have a couple of readings from Hoxha of the Party of Labour of Albania on the topic of maintaining a good communist party, and both of these readings feature in the American Party of Labour's recommended reading list, which you can find, along with the rest of our recommended Marxist-Leninist reading lists, by going to the Home tab at youtube.com/socialismforall, and then just scrolling down slightly to the recommended reading list section. For people wanting to get into this topic and not knowing where to begin, that's a good start. So the source of this piece is the report of the activities of the Central Committee of the Party of Labour of Albania, given at the Fifth Party Congress on November 1st, 1966, translated from German by Arne Revan, transcribed by Ishmael Badio, HTML markup by Mike B., and it's in the public domain at the Marxists Internet Archive, marxists.org. Thanks as usual to MIA for hosting this and thousands of other free Marxist texts. Let's begin. The composition and extension of the party, the growth of its ranks, and the stealing of its members must be one of the most serious issues for all party organizations. It always has to be shown quite clearly that the party work in general, and especially the admission to the party and the problem of its growth, is a thing of great responsibility, about which many factors have to be kept in mind. Political, ideological, organizational, economic ones, as well as factors concerning one's awareness, etc. In such delicate issues, a cut-and-dried, formal performance of instructions or existing rules is as harmful as the negation of all rules and instructions, like in anarchist or spontaneous tendencies. We must not become slaves of predetermined structures, but, on the other hand, we are unable to do without correct revolutionary structures, renewed and animated through struggle and experience. The admission to the party follows the terms of the party statute and the rules issued by the Central Committee according to specific instructions. It happens that people join the ranks of the party who do not yet hold all necessary characteristics to be a communist, or who are not worthy of that name. Often such qualities like character, morals, and the personal behavior of the candidate, their readiness to make sacrifices, and their political maturity, their ideological level and revolutionary spirit, as well as their connections with the masses, etc., which should be the main requirements, are not considered at all. The basic organizations leave the judgment and the serious rating to those who issue the recommendation. Finally, the same carelessness dominates during the probation time of the candidate. In fact, this is very often a probation time in name only. The candidate is not bound up in any specific systematic revolutionary activity, and therefore they see themselves as a member of the party from the day on which they have been accepted as a candidate. Only the color of the envelope of their membership register makes them any different from a party member, as opposed to just a candidate. It has to be said that such a, quote, normal procedure is revolutionary neither in form nor in content. The party needs new blood, but pure blood. The party has to be strong, especially regarding quality. Therefore, we should not seek quantity. Comment, or as Lenin said, better fewer, but better. Continuing, the candidate is expected to give top priority to their work, keep discipline, show bravery, and readiness to make sacrifices, as well as determination to defend the party line, to be closely connected with the workers and peasants, and humane toward their colleagues, that they are severe against themselves and their flaws and mistakes, and fight them. The Central Committee of the Party of Labour of Albania is of the opinion that the candidature should last 2 to 3 years, depending on the candidate's character of work and their qualities. To put up higher requirements for the admittance to the party should in no way be understood as closing the doors of the party. The party will close the doors to class enemies, and to those unworthy of joining, but its doors are open to all sons and daughters of our heroic people, to all those who want to dedicate their lives to the great cause of the revolution and of Marxism-Leninism. The party organizations and committees not only have to pay attention to the task of upholding the purity of the Party of Labour of Albania and to its qualitative consolidation in connection with new admittances, but also with regard to the further stealing and educating of those communists who are already fighting in the ranks of the party. Comment. So in other words, there's a lot that you have to do to pass your candidature period, but then beyond that, the party has to keep improving, and developing those who become full members. Continuing, the members of our party have to be true to the teachings of Marxism-Leninism, to the party and the people. This means that they always have to be revolutionary and upright fighters for the defense of the purity of Marxism-Leninism, determined till their deaths to serve the party and the people at every moment and in every situation, ready to commit every sacrifice which might be asked from them in the name of the interests of the revolution and of socialism. Communists have to show an iron and a conscious discipline, as well as a strong will to enforce the party line, the laws, and the preservation of the morality and customs of our people. But this does not mean that they have to apply the received instructions in a mechanical way. Comment, so as he was saying in the intro, this isn't just a matter of formally applying instructions or rules, nor is it just chaotically throwing away all the rules. It's understanding a set of principles and desired outcomes, and developing a sensibility of how to apply those principles to a diversity of situations in pursuit of steering events in a particular way. Continuing, a communist has to approach their work in a creative way. They have to delve into the concrete ideological and political core of the concrete party resolutions and state laws, and has to organize their activities, depending on the circumstances under which they work, in such a way that those resolutions are enforced and applied successfully. The members of our Marxist-Leninist Party have to be aware that the party affiliation will not and cannot earn even the smallest personal privilege. The party affiliation only brings big, difficult, and responsible tasks with it. Those who hold a different opinion, who seek to ensure privileges for themselves, their family, or somebody else by the medium of the membership register, no matter if those privileges are of material or moral nature, does not deserve the great honor to be a member of the party for even a single moment. A communist has to be connected closely to the masses, to listen considerately and respectfully to their voice, to live and work with the masses, to feel their pulse and know their sorrows, to head and lead the masses. They have to be an unforgiving enemy of a cocky nature, arrogance, addiction to domination of others, favoritism, and nepotism, of any kind of underestimation and scorn for the masses and their work. They have to fight bravely against everybody who reveals such tendencies to damage the interests of the workers, the party, and our socialist state. A good and consistent member of our party is one who always keeps the class struggle in mind and enforces it without hesitation, outside of the party as well as within its ranks, by firmly relying on both the basic principles of Marxism-Leninism and the party line. They have, after a correct dialectical analysis, to be able to differ between good and bad, the dangerous and the less dangerous. They have to understand how to use the most appropriate methods of convincing and persuading others, and lastly, of using force. A good and revolutionary member of our party is one who wins the trust and love of the people by their actions and behavior, who teaches and saves those who are erring, and strikes with the utmost hatred against those who are incorrigible and socially dangerous, against the enemies of the people and the party. Every communist has to acquire a truly revolutionary vigilance to ensure the party line and the purity of its ideals. A member of the party has to be characterized by the highest sense of justice, by the purity of their conscience and actions. They have to be strong in their principles and never hide their flaws and mistakes, but criticize them themselves without waiting for others to expose them. Only in this way are they able to effectively criticize the mistakes of their comrades, to exercise vigilance, and to improve others through one's own purity and one's own just struggle. A revolutionary communist has to fight with the utmost conscientiousness in the place where the party puts them, and where it needs them, always putting public interest above all. They must never give in to an unsound situation which was caused by the incorrect conclusions and enactments of any party or state authority, just as they must not give in to the mistakes or despotic acts of any functionary. Those characteristics, which are embodied in the majority of our party members, have to become a second nature to all Albanian communists. Without this, the revolutionary spirit of our party cannot be protected, and one cannot speak of revolutionizing life in our country. Therefore, the whole attention of the party committees and the basic organizations has to be aimed at the constant steeling of the communists. The party organizations have to be very persistent, especially in this regard. Consistent revolutionaries have to be educated in the party's organization's ranks and have to act as determined communists so that they fully earn the honor to be members of the Party of Labor of Albania. The right way for steeling or making strong the party members is their most active participation in the construction, their insistent and constant work on their political and ideological education. The consistent revolutionaries will stand out and grow in their daily work and struggle, in the revolutionary enthusiasm of the masses, in the effort put into the enforcement and the defense of the party line, while on the other hand the half-hearted will drift to the surface, those who look for a quiet place to live in the dream world of the past. those who gloat over the past and therefore demand privileges, and in the end those will drop out who entered the party without justification or by mistake. The party has to give everyone what they deserve. The first have to be supported, encouraged, educated by the party so that they will advance. The party has to stand by the second in a helpful way and open their eyes so that they will see in what a bad situation they are. It has to clarify that their situation is not compatible with the responsibilities and the role of a revolutionary. It has to take care that they leave this swamp as soon as possible, rise with regard to the general revolutionary enthusiasm, and side themselves with the first ranks of the most outstanding fighters. The third have to be thrown out of the party. They are unworthy to be part of its ranks. So commenting, we're near the end of the text, and that's a really key paragraph. Hoxha started out talking about the candidacy or probationary period of the first 2 or 3 years where a potential communist, an aspiring communist, somebody who wants to join the party and become part of party life, is being tried and evaluated by the party for their dedication to and fitness for the weighty revolutionary responsibilities that come with party membership. And basically here he's dividing those applicants or candidates into 3 groups. The consistent revolutionaries who stand out and grow in their daily work and struggle, in the revolutionary enthusiasm of the masses, in the effort put into the enforcement and defense of the party line. Then there's the second group, the half-hearted, who really don't want to be on the front lines of this revolutionary transformation of society. They have one foot in the present world and one foot in the past, and they're sort of dreaming about the past, exhibiting a hesitancy or a reluctance to embrace the socialist future which the party is actively bringing about, and fantasizing about using their position to gain favor for themselves or for others that they know. And the third group who just shouldn't be there at all, for whom there's really no hope of them ever becoming a proper communist. They're there without justification or, just totally by mistake. They thought they were actually in line for the bottle cap collecting club. And Hoxha says that the first group, the consistent revolutionaries who are just really basking in the revolution, giving it their all, taking in everything that they can about it, need to be supported, encouraged, and educated by the party so that they keep growing as communists. The second group, the half-hearted, there's some hope for, and the party needs to try to correct them, stand by them, open their eyes, help them to see their errors, and to improve. And then the third group just needs to come back later or not at all. Because really, the party only has so many resources, finite resources, and you need to spend them where they're going to be going to good use. Hoxha didn't explicitly say this last part, but it is true. What he says is that they're unworthy of its ranks. There are standards here, and the party has to uphold those. Continuing, in the struggle to improve their quality, the party organizations have to pay special attention to those party members with long-lasting fighting experience. This is a great treasure of the party which must not be wasted but guarded jealously. The party has to work with those people too, has to educate them so that they will forever stay consistent revolutionaries until they die. Even in the last days of their lives, they're supposed to struggle bravely for the cause of the party with their remaining energy, even though some will be amongst them who will grow old physically. This is a natural law. But for us communists, it is also a law, and it will stay a law, that we will mentally remain revolutionaries until the very end, until our deaths, and also fight as such. The party must not evince its care for those comrades by pampering them, but by protecting and mobilizing them to constant revolutionary action. The party has to truly honor and love those comrades for their actions, but it must in no way allow that those who have such a brilliant past in the party become parasites, self-important and arrogant people who demand unlawful privileges for themselves and their families. This is a dangerous thing, because it creates a privileged class with petty bourgeois remnants within the party, which are alien to the proletariat and its ideology. And that is the end of the audiobook. So personally, I love this kind of messy, qualitative, what it means to be a communist type of thing. Questions of conduct, how we wage the struggle, which really has to do with how we live our lives and how we present ourselves in society. And it doesn't mean, as some revisionists have suggested, wearing more conservative clothing styles and projecting some kind of petty bourgeois respectability, but being an inspiring person who stirs others to the cause of revolution. As Hoxha says in this piece, it is an honor to be a communist, and a person has to be worthy of the name. How? In their dedication to the revolutionary social science of Marxism-Leninism, and to demonstrate conduct reflective of one's ability to do the work required of a revolutionary in the world as it exists. It is definitely the case that a communist's person is one of their main instruments in the struggle, and aspiring communists have to dedicate themselves to honing their personal skills and abilities. Those are going to be different for each and every one of us. We all have something unique about us as well as things that we have in common with others. It means being the best version of yourself that you can, reflecting and self-criticizing often, maintaining from day to day and from action to action a sincere effort to be honest with oneself and to get to know oneself. Knowledge is power, and the kind of self-mastery that can develop from self-knowledge is a really precious thing. It serves the bearer in everything that they do, and others often can recognize it as well. We talk about developing social consciousness and class consciousness, and I would say that that is interconnected with the kind of self-awareness, self-consciousness, self-knowledge that we're talking about. Because it's really only when a person has themselves in check, when they're really honest with themselves and their own petty drama and hang-ups and personal issues and are able to transcend and set that stuff aside and aren't too tangled up or paralyzed by it, that they're able to do really effective work on the social level. To underscore a quote from this text, a revolutionary communist has to fight with the utmost conscientiousness in the place where the party puts them and where it needs them, always putting public interest above all. They must never give in to an unsound situation which was caused by the incorrect conclusions and enactments of any party or state authority, just as they must not give in to the mistakes or despotic acts of any functionary. And as Hoxha said earlier, this isn't something you can just get from a simple instruction or a formal, mechanical application of a rule. It implies a sensibility, a capacity, which has to be developed and deepened for moral reasoning. And that comes about from the kind of reflection that we were talking about earlier. Hoxha states in here that that has to become a second nature to all Albanian communists. So we could say that that is an essential part of how we wage the revolution. All right, I'm going to leave it there. What do you think? Leave a question or comment below, and we will continue the discussion in the comment section as always. Otherwise, thanks for listening. And thanks to the current patrons and Buy Me a Coffee supporters whose names are on the screen. If you'd like to get your name on the screen, head to patreon.com/socialismforall or buymeacoffee.com/socialismforall. Every donation is encouraging, they're also materially helpful, and they allow me to spend a lot more time on this channel than I'd be able to do without that support. This is a 100% viewer-supported channel. We don't run ads or sponsorships here, so if you like this channel, thank me, but also thank a patron or Buy Me a Coffee supporter, and consider becoming one yourself. Beyond that, engagement counts, so like, share, subscribe. And remember, we can agitate and educate online, but the third part of that slogan, organizing, happens in real life. So connect with your local left, find out what groups, organizations, and parties are active in your area, get involved, let them get to know you and network with them, so that you can apply what you've learned here and help to intensify the class struggle where you live. Thanks again, and we will see you in the next video.